We are live.
Welcome to WagerTalk Today, the gold standard of sports betting shows where we talk the talk and walk the walk. Philadelphia 76ers fans, are you happy with what oh man, how can we not have Dan on the show today? But yes, LeBron James has signed with the Philadelphia 76ers. I'll ask Gianni and BP what their thoughts are on it. My initial thought was, I think that's a really smart choice for him to go to the East. I just looked at their depth chart, and man, is it thin. So top heavy, no depth. They'll have to work on that. And not a lot of guys in that starting lineup that are good defenders in this day and age. So, but happy Friday, everybody. I already mentioned it. We're bringing Gianni on. We're bringing Bryan Power on. Gianni's going to give us the steam for today. BP is going to break down a couple of baseball games and then give you a stunning NFL future. And I'm going to end the show with the Chargers over under 9.5 games breakdown. That was submitted by you guys, the viewers, and it's a great submission because I got a very strong opinion about that one. But first, we got to get to the play of the day. Hammer Thursday comes through. Congratulations to Thursday Hammer time. We're going to do a play in the Brickyard 400. This is the race in my backyard. So we got to do a head-to-head. We're going to take William Byron over Chase Briscoe. Listen, I like Toyotas on these ovals, but William Byron has just been very good on the big ovals. He's got some real upside too. 3rd, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 3rd on big tracks. Briscoe's got some nice finishes as well, but 12th at Pocono, at 10th at Michigan doesn't give me a lot of faith that he's going to be able to beat out Byron. Briscoe does have a win in Chicago. That was at an oval, but this is a different type of oval. This is long. This is flat, huge straights, long, sweeping, flat turns. So it's more similar to Pocono than anything. So William Byron on Sunday is going to be the play of the day. So we got 2 plays of the day to monitor for this weekend. All right, let's bring in Gianni. Gianni, your initial thoughts on LeBron. You said they just took down the lines. You can't even bet them.
Yeah, I checked every off screen, and none of them that I have access to have future odds up. They have, MVP up still, but they took that future market down. Listen, it's going to be a positive. It's not a negative for Philadelphia. You bring LeBron in, that's only going to improve everyone else on the team just because of all his experience and knowledge. And the level he plays at, everybody else has to step it up. And then you look at their starting lineup, Tyrese Maxey, Jaylen Brown, Joel Embiid, LeBron James. Like, that's a really good starting 5. Throw Edgecombe in there. Can they stay healthy? That's the key. Like, do you hold Embiid out until the playoffs and hope the big guy stays healthy? Like, just don't play him at all till June? That's the problem. Can you stay healthy? Like, if they stay healthy, this team is going to compete to represent the East in the NBA Finals. That's for sure, especially in the NBA where pretty much everyone makes the playoffs and they play 7-game series and the cream rises to the top. So Philly's definitely improved. Philly's definitely a threat to win the NBA Finals and definitely the Eastern Conference. With that said, you're not going to get any value on the futures market because of LeBron James. He's going to actually provide value elsewhere, kind of like we talked about MLS yesterday, where because Miami is so hyped, we're able to get value on 2nd and 3rd options, just like in Major League Baseball. The Dodgers came in with so much hype and on paper are so strong that you're able to get, 10, 15 to 1 on a team like Milwaukee Brewers, who, in a 7-game series wouldn't really be a big underdog to the Dodgers. So that's where I think you're going to find value. You're not going to find value in betting the Philadelphia 76ers, especially early on, especially in any futures market. But that will force value elsewhere. In the Eastern Conference, for sure, now you're going to get value on the 2nd best team, 3rd best team, 4th best team. And then to win the NBA Finals, you'll get some value as well, depending on how strong the West is. But that's how I would approach it. Kind of go contrarian. As a fan, being from Philly, I'm happy. I want to see them win a championship. With that said, as a sports bettor, I don't see any value that he brings to betting the Sixers. I think it's going to be the opposite, where we now have to pay a premium to back the Sixers. And again, doesn't mean you're not going to cash tickets, but you're just not getting the best of it. And, long term, that's just not a winning formula. So get excited, Philadelphia. But as far as betting goes, pause the brakes, and I think you look elsewhere.
Yeah, it's more of entertainment and a fun story as opposed to
it's
really
great for
value.
Sports radio. You're on the drive. They got something to talk about for 45 minutes this morning. That's what it's good for discussion.
Yeah, I'll be watching. I'll be the first to admit it. I'll be following it. It's fascinating. So let's move on to any steam that you have today. Pretty good MLB card.
Yeah.
I know I found some really good props. I got a 4% up. What are you finding on the card today?
Good for you. A lot of sharp action, and more importantly, except for a play that they bet 902 Milwaukee Brewers where they laid the minus 230. They're probably opposite public in 9 out of 10 of the moves they took, which is kind of rare, especially some of the overnights. I usually see the opposite. But like I said, after a negative first half of the season, and other movers I spoke to said the exact same thing. Like, they didn't make any money betting for the last couple months of baseball. They've been betting since April, and no one I really talked to is up money, at least the movers that I spoke to. So far, second half started off well. See if that continues. Here's what they've done so far in Major League Baseball. Other than Milwaukee, they are on 903 the Cubs, plus 110 and over 7.5. They're on 906 Mets, plus 145, plus 140 and over 8.5. 911 Cincinnati, plus 145 and under 8.5. 913 Kansas City, plus 255, 250, 245 and plus 240. So they kept hitting Kansas City and took the plus 1.5 runs. 919 Houston, plus 140, 135 and plus 130. See where this is going? A lot of plus. 922 Texas, plus 105. 924 under 10 Athletics, Minnesota. 928 Baltimore, minus 110. 929 LA Angels, plus 155, 150, plus 145. And the over 8.5 up to minus 122. So as you can see, a lot of baseball action, all dogs except for Milwaukee. And even on the totals, from what I see, most are opposite, at least the early public money. So it'd be interesting to see how it turns out. I haven't released a single premium. I woke up happy. We hit a 4% early in the morning in tennis. I'll take it. Start the day winning. And with that said, in no rush, staying selective. It's been profitable for us. I know I'm top 3 last 3 days, last 7 days. Keep it going. And I don't have much else for you. I know WNBA is on a break. I gave you yesterday the fill orders for CFL. That hasn't changed. And that's about it so far today.
I'm leaning more towards the best feeling in the world is waking up to a tennis winner. It's
really
the best.
It really is. Bonder. I as soon as I click, I always check the accounts in the morning. I'm like, wait, we're up more money than I went to bed with. And you see Bonder hits early in the morning. What a great feeling.
You don't have to sweat it.
I took a position, a 25 dime position that I had to stop at 10% negative or 15% positive. And it dropped 10%, and I woke up out 2,500 as well. So I had some money to make up. Thank God for Bonder. She puts me a little bit ahead, but I still got work to do for Friday.
Let's see. Let's talk a little UFC. I'll just throw the PFL card in the trash. They just lost the main event. Somebody's stepping up short notice, but the only thing of note that I will tell you in PFL to keep your eye on is the line is completely flipped on Tyson Pedro and Rafael Xavier. I should have grabbed Xavier against. He was an underdog, and now he's minus 135. I have a rule, Gianni. Whenever there's a dollar move close to weigh-ins, I just take the dollar move because the market's telling me everything I need to know.
They know. Yeah. Yes. I love that move. I know you'll get quants and you'll get some sharp guys that'll say, oh, that's not a smart move and you're steam chasing and it's bullshit, bro. Again, there is a cutoff where a bet is no longer plus EV, but it's not always the case that after the initial move or a significant move that all the expected value is gone. again, we talk about it all the time. Like they're only going to adjust the line so significantly. Same thing with totals. They're only going to raise it so high or so low. Like you're never going to see a Major League Baseball total of 17.5, but I'm sure there's some matchups that you handicap in Colorado or Arizona where you do get a higher total than the 11.5 or 12 that's on the board. So I'm all for that because, with those smaller markets, there are guys out there that have inside information. I'm not talking about fix. I'm not talking about corruption. I'm talking about information that is not factored into the betting line because odds makers aren't paying very close attention to every BFK fighter on that card. But you could get some information as far as a guy having a bad weight cut, a guy having, a bad camp. Like there's so many things that end up happening late that you find out that is the reason the line moves that never got factored into the price. So you see a move like that late. Yeah, I trust it. I talk about the NFL draft all the time. There's certainty in certain bets where they already know the outcome. It's just, are you willing to lay that money?
Yeah, so we're at 70 cents on the line move. Once it gets to $1, then that kind of just is that's my level of confirmation. And I think it's lost once this entire year. I think there's only been like 6 or 7, but they're all surefires. So let's talk a little bit of UFC. It looks like everybody made it through on weight cuts. I really haven't seen I have not seen much movement in any of these lines. They are kind of just staying where they are. Are you seeing anything?
No, and here's why. It's the lack of knowing these fighters, like the MMA fans, the guys that bet it every week. You're looking at a handful of debut fighters. And even if you look at their pre-UFC results, it's hard to measure it. It's hard to weigh it because of the level of competition. And I think that's why you're even seeing the sharp bettors didn't attack too many sides. Like where usually you'll see some huge line moves from the opener to the next day. And in this card, that just hasn't been the case. Like we haven't seen like the flip, you know what I mean? Where a guy opens minus 190 and an hour later he's plus 110. We haven't seen that. I'm interested to see if that happens later today or overnight. I doubt it because there's a lot of chalk. Like this is a very chalky card. I think there's only like 2 fights that are lined, below, or 1 fight that's lined below 150, 160. And you're looking at more than half the card lined minus 300 or higher. That's also the case because the higher the line, the less the line movement means. Meaning if you move from minus 110 to minus 150, your implied win probability moved like 9%. But if you move from like minus 500 to minus 600, it might have moved 1%, 1.5%. And that's why once you get into this high chalk, you don't see many moves. And even some moves, they really don't mean anything at all. That's why with a card like this, you have conviction. You like a side, fire. Don't look for confirmation from the market. You're probably not going to get it.
Yeah. I'm just so excited for the Zainikov fight. But yeah, you're right. This is one of those stranger betting, like just
it is right.
No line move. There's no line movement all week. So to me, that says there's not a lot of conviction.
No,
like
you're
a
absolutely
lot of people
right.
Do not have conviction on this one. So
except Dolotov.
Yeah. yes. The minus
confidence in Islam, baby. That's about it. And there's a lot of I didn't know how popular. I should have named Jackpot Magomed. I didn't know how popular of a name Magomed is over there. There's a handful of Magomeds fighting on this card.
I have friends that live in Ireland. The number one baby name in Ireland now is Muhammad.
I was going to say Abdul Muhammad, one of them. They're having babies. They're having a lot of babies. God bless them.
Let's see. What do you have up for the weekend? It's a fairly light weekend. It's good weekend for me. I got Brickyard 400. I got BKFC and UFC. I'm a happy man. What do you?
That's what I mean. I love that shit. I have my UFC card is up. I have a 5% in there. I also have boxing. More will be added to that throughout today and into tonight. You don't have to wait till 4 or 5 a.m. I'll have the card finalized for you this evening. I also have my college football futures as far as winning the national championship. That card is finalized. There's a 5% in there, a 3%, and a 1%. I have a strong feeling all three of those teams make the college football playoffs. Even the 1% that's 50 to 1 or higher, they're going to surprise a lot of people because they're going to win a lot of games. And because of their record, they may be forced to be in that playoff mix. I also have my season win totals. We placed about 13, 15 of them. I narrowed down the 5 strongest. 4%, 5%. We're done there as well. Now I'm going to move on to NFL and get that finalized over the next couple days. We have a steam room tomorrow for subscribers. Coming off a really good week. Let's keep it going. And like I said, I got a 5% going tomorrow, 5% in 5% in college football already. And
wow.
I'm getting ready for what's ahead, baby. We've been waiting all year for this. It's upon us. Let's make some money.
Wow. Nice job. All right. 5%. You're getting me excited for futures. We're going to talk a couple of those. Thank you, Gianni. Have a great weekend. Can't wait to see you.
Good luck. Good luck with your bombs, brother. Good luck with your bombs this weekend.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, we do have a 5% best bet that is up in UFC. We got a 4% MLB prop that is up. But if you're not, we always tell you, don't get a play, get a package. We're running a half price special for 30 days. Coming off a nice cricket winner. And I think that was the only play we had yesterday was cricket. So Money Days of Summer, 30 days for only $149. Hey, people in this industry go on vacations during this time of year. Not me and my team. We will have Brickyard 400 bets that are already up. I have a BKFC bet that is up. We have UFC that is up. We got MLB props. So we're not taking any days off right now. So very, very excited about that. On a really nice run last 7 days. I believe we're up 23 units in July, so could not be happier with the performance of the team. And what I love most about it is we're on a sustainable winning percentage. It's not like we're hitting 80% and regression is coming. We're hitting around that 58 to 62%. So really, really happy with the work. So jump on board. Let's cash. We got to build these bankrolls up before the fall. Get there with the shortcut WT.buzz/AL, and welcome to the family. Everyone's jumped on board the last couple of days. Appreciate you guys. All right, let's bring in Bryan Power. Hey, how was your adventure at the ball game?
Oh, it was great. I've actually been to 2. Which one are you referring to? I've had 2 adventures at the ball game. I went to Colorado last weekend, and then yesterday I was at the Guardians game. That one was far less fun. Well, I had a good time, but unfortunately the Guardians ended up losing in 12 innings. I'll talk about that more here in a little bit. Use that. 0 for 17 with runners in scoring position, Andy. I know the extra innings thing can, inflates that. You can't be a major league team and go 0 for 17 with the runners in score. I mean, I guess you can because the Guardians just did it at Thursday afternoon, but it should not happen. It was rather embarrassing.
I mean, that's an insane stat.
Yes.
It's probably not a record, but I would have to look that up because that sounds.
It's got to be up there. I think somebody said it matched the franchise record for futility. If I remember correctly, I saw on Twitter.
I saw your picture of the $7 hams.
Oh yes, I did have hams. Yes. So one thing I've learned in my older year, Andy, I think you and I are roughly the same age. We'll call it roughly. We don't need to compare. But 2-3 IPAs at one ball game, man, you're kind of dragging ass the rest of the day. So it's not worth doing. I mean, I like you. I know it's a technically slow time of the year, but there's stuff to do, guys, even after these games are over. So hams, great value at $7.25 at the ballpark if anyone's at Progressive Field.
It actually is. It actually is really
goes
good
down
value,
smooth.
So, yeah. I can't do too many drinks at a baseball game. Like I need to be able to focus a little bit on the game. Like I don't want to be like that guy that's obliterated that has no idea because that walk out of there, it's not fun. It's not a fun walk when you're super buzzed walking out trying to find your way home. So
I wonder what the people are doing walking around downtown Cleveland now that LeBron James has spurned us. I suppose that's the way it's going to be framed here locally, I guess. I hold no ill will towards the man. It's his career. He doesn't have to do what I tell him to do.
What are you bummed he's not coming to Cleveland, or what's your thoughts?
I mean, it would have been nice. I mean, I don't think it would have guaranteed the Cavs were going to win their second world championship. We'll be always, I mean, maybe indebted is a little strong, but it was always nice how when he came back and we won, people are like, oh my God, you guys are so desperate to win. Yes. Okay. It's the one world championship the city of Cleveland has won during my lifetime. I'm sorry that I remember that fondly, ladies and gentlemen, but, I agree. I'll co-sign with what the points, both you, and VR made to start the program. I think those are the two from a gambling perspective, talking points that are very, I don't want to say obvious, but I think they're pertinent. One, the Sixers, let's not all go running to bet the Sixers now. This is a depth-shy team. There's no guarantee they will finish first in the East during the regular season with that. I mean, Andy, you know the NBA. When you have that little depth, an 82-game season isn't the greatest thing in the world for you. And then, I don't think there's going to be a ton of value necessarily on the Sixers right now. Obviously, they're going to be the favorites to win the East. And I don't know. The Lakers, they didn't do much with LeBron. They had Luka Doncic on the team. So we shall see. We shall see.
Well, they did win a championship.
Well, that was, it was during COVID. It was a while ago.
I have a completely different take on that, and then we'll get to the games. But I said before the bubble, I said this will be, to me, one of the more impressive NBA championships because of how bizarre it was. And I was just like, this needs to be the most mentally tough team. And you saw teams absolutely wilt. The Clippers wilted. So I was impressed. I'm surprised it's not aging well, but I still think it's an all-timer.
Yeah, I'm not here to poo-poo the championship. I guess I was merely referring to the fact that was 6 years ago at this point. So a lot has changed in 6 years. So we shall see. Obviously, a lot else going on, though. Obviously, everyone wants to talk basketball now, but we've got some good Major League Baseball today. We're all getting ready for football. I'm going to warn everyone, Andy. I'm going to give everyone a couple-minute warning here. I have a very on-brand NFL future that I'm going to give, and no one will like it. So there you go. Stay tuned.
Well, let's get into games here. We got the Rays and the Guardians, Yankees and Phillies. Let's start with the Yankees Phillies. That's going to be the big one. So, is it Schlittler confirmed?
Yes.
They were kind of dancing around. So it is Schlittler. Okay. And we got Luzardo for the Phillies. It's just one of those where whenever you see a plus money next to the New York Yankees, you're like, wait, what? What's going on here? So, wow, over under down to 7.5, low total. What do you expect in this game?
Yeah, let's, I'm going to bring up, the Yankees as an underdog. But first, let's establish the fact why the Phillies are favored here. It's an outstanding pitching matchup. Obviously, you mentioned the Yankees deciding to go with Cam Schlittler. It was originally going to be Will Warren for tonight's series opener in Philly, but should be a good one with Schlittler going against Jesus Luzardo. Here's a stat, guys, that I've been mentioning quite a bit over the last week or so in various videos here on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. This season, when it's Luzardo, Christopher Sanchez, or Zach Wheeler starting, the Phillies' record is 42-15 this season with one of those three guys on the mound. When it's anybody else starting, team's record is just 14-32. And you look at Luzardo specifically, Andy, the Phils are 10-0 his last 10 starts. This is a guy who got off to a bit of a slow start to 2026, but I recall being one of the first to predict that he was going to turn things around under the hood, so to speak. A lot of the various metrics looked good, even when Luzardo was running a much higher ERA than he has now. But here's the thing, and you already alluded to this, Andy, and I would agree with you. Do I really want to bet against the Yankees as an underdog, particularly when Cam Schlittler's on the mound? That doesn't seem like something I would want to do. I know the Yankees' record is below 500 since the Aaron Judge injury. But with Schlittler, you're talking about a guy that remains the slight favorite to win the AL Cy Young. 2.20 ERA, 0.96 whip. Those are both third best in all of baseball. And the numbers, get this, guys, get even better on the road. 1.18 ERA on the road. Opponents batting just 164 against Schlittler outside of Yankee Stadium. Most importantly, the Yankees are 8-3 in those 11 road starts of his. So given everything I've gone through so far, I don't know about you, Andy. I think it seems pretty hard to pick a winner here. So I'm not going to. We're going to take a look at the total. Instead, you mentioned it's kind of low at 7.5. I don't think it's low enough. It is slightly juiced to the under, at least last I looked. Is that still true? Where's the odds screen here? Where's this game? Yeah, it's still true. So that wouldn't have mattered. I still like the under anyway. Bottom line is this, guys. Yankees have scored 2 runs or fewer in 5 of their 6 games since the All-Star break. Luzardo has allowed just 3 runs total in his last 4 starts. So he is indeed in fine form. And I know, guys, the Phillies score more at home than they do on the road. We talk about all the time on the morning wager, Mark and I, but here they're going to get Schlittler. And we're talking about a lineup, the Phillies, that is, still tied for the second lowest WRC plus in all of MLB. Under 7.5. Let's go.
All right, I'm going to have you go over that stat because that is an all-time stat of this season. So do that stat again, the insane stat about the Philadelphia Phillies record with certain pitchers.
Okay, here's the deal. This season, when it's Jesus Luzardo, Christopher Sanchez, or Zach Wheeler starting, the Phillies record is 42-15 when one of those 3 guys starts. When it's anybody else starting, the team's record is 14-32. So it is certainly a big deal. And I think we had a discussion about it, Andy, on the morning wager. The Phillies, I don't think they're not knocking them dead. I mean, you look, they still have a negative run differential for the year, right? And I had noted that, I was talking about with Zeno on the morning wager. I'm like, do we agree how this team is priced to make the playoffs? I mean, odds makers are basically telling you the Philadelphia Phillies are in the playoffs. They're making it in the National League. And we started talking, we're like, presuming they get there, guys, you shorten your rotation in the playoffs. The Phillies are a team that you don't want to play at all. I see someone in the comments section saying, why don't they just go to a 3-man rotation? Well, those 3 guys would be dead by September. Well, they wouldn't be dead. Their arms would be very tired. But, come playoff time, you would expect them to do just that, and they would be in good shape. So the Phillies, perhaps, guys, something to file away, assuming that trend holds the rest of the regular season. The Phillies, probably a team that not a lot of teams will want to face in the playoffs, unless if you're the Dodgers, I suppose. They probably won't be too scared. They just played the Phillies, as a matter of fact, took 2 or 3.
Let's move to the Guardians and the Rays. Was it Quintillo for the Guardians? McClanahan for the Rays. Tampa Bay cost a lot of people a lot of money yesterday, losing to the Blue Jays 3-1. But they're coming right back as a minus 132 favorite. 7.5 again on the total. How do you break this game down?
Yeah, I actually gave Toronto out on the morning wager yesterday because I'm an insane person. But unfortunately, we didn't count it for our record because the Tampa Bay wound up going with an opener. So we always do that when there's if there's an opener, we don't count that for the record. Nevertheless, Andy and everybody, I mentioned I was up yesterday. I mentioned that the Guardians lose 3-1 in 12 innings to the Twins. That sucked for me. I had the Guardians as a 4% best bet there. So I was not happy leaving the ballpark, needless to say. And we already talked about the 0 for 17 with runners in scoring position. Well, now let's take a look at the situation, guys. The Guards have to travel, no off day between series. They're heading to Tampa to take on a Rays team that is an outstanding 35-15 at Tropicana Field this season. No team has a better win percentage at home in all of baseball than Tampa Bay. That 35-15, the best home mark there is. And because yesterday's game went to extras, Andy, the Guards used most of their high leverage arms. They were trying to win it. We saw Gaddis. We saw Smith. They tried, very uncharacteristic. I know it was a 1-0 lead. That combo could not hold it. And so the decision doesn't pay off for manager Stephen Vogt. The bullpen, it's kind of iffy now coming into the series. I know the Rays, as you mentioned, also lost by the same score, 3-1 on Thursday up in Toronto. But they won the first 3 games of that series. They've got the best record in the entire American League, pacing the AL East, obviously a couple games ahead of the Yankees. And you talk about the starting pitching matchup, guys. Final note, McClanahan starting for the Rays. He's been unbelievable here at home. How about a 6-1 record, 1.88 ERA, 0.95 whip? I certainly give him the edge over Quintillo. And the Guardians, you talk about the lineup had been producing in the first before yesterday, but the bottom line is, and I know Jose Ramirez is back, which was actually a big part of my handicap yesterday. Nevertheless, hard to overlook the fact, guys, that the Guardians are tied for the 3rd fewest number of runs scored in all of baseball this season. I think everything points towards taking the home team in this series opener. I know the price, it's not our favorite price in the world, but to me, Tampa Bay still looks a little cheap.
All right. Tampa Bay Rays. We got to get to your NFL future, but first, I know you got a 5%er going tonight. Tell us about it.
Yeah, it's actually my first 5% money line play of the Major League Baseball season. We are 2 for 2 with 5% plays here in July. You go back to kind of the beginning of the month. We had a very easy over with the Arizona Diamondbacks and San Diego Padres. That bet actually cashed by the 6th inning. Always nice, Andy, when you can cash any bet in baseball by the 6th inning, but particularly when it's a 5%, kind of backed up how strongly we felt about that. Now, our previous 5%, we left it late. It was Argentina over England in the semifinals, and that was not looking good. I was actually on vacation during that, and I made my family leave the restaurant we were at and go back to the hotel so I could curse at the TV in peace. And guess what? That change in venue resulted in a win. We got it home with Argentina. Did have them draw no bet, so we were looking at a push until that second goal. But tonight, we look to make it 3 for 3 with 5% plays in the month of July. Get it now, wt.buzz/BP, and get the next 3 days for $49, of course. We've got that great special offer available. So if you want this 5% play and then everything I do Saturday, Sunday, feel free to check it out.
I wish we had World Cup every year. It was so much fun.
Oh my God, I know. I felt like part of me was just like I've just been kind of wandering the earth in the, well, I literally have been, but I've been like, ever since the World Cup ended, I've been, just wandering around feeling this void in my life. I would like to point something out because not everybody feels this way, but I do. You probably do, Andy, because you're a good person. Soccer does not end just because the World Cup ended, guys. Next month, all the major European leagues start, and I'm up over 69 units the last 2+ years in soccer. That's number one. So I'm very excited. It's not like I'm just going to write off soccer and not think about it again for 4 years. Next month, we're gearing up for the EPL. We'll be doing some stuff, I'm sure, on the WagerTalk YouTube channel about that.
Every year we love picking teams to get relegated. You could just see you're like, uh-oh, this one's not going to go well for this team. So love the futures market on teams to get relegated. So, all right, I'm going to be breaking down the Chargers and their over/under win total, but Bryan has brought a disgusting, just absolutely filthy, grotesque team to WagerTalk today. Let's talk about the Arizona Cardinals with an over/under 3.5. 3.5 wins. I mean, it's just, you almost have to take the over on sheer principle at 3.5 in a 17-game season. All right, what are we doing with the Cardinals?
You know what I'm going to do with the Cardinals. And I think most of the people, I think most of the people watching know what I'm going to do with the Cardinals. So, guys, this is my official start of talking the 2026 NFL season here on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. And we're starting with the first team alphabetically. That I guess it's just a coincidence. And it's pretty on brand for me to come on here and tell you all to bet the presumed worst team in the league to go over its season win total of 3.5. I just think this number is egregious at 3.5. You don't see this very often. It is -136 to bet the over, but I'm showing the most value of any win total on this right now. I get Arizona's going to be bad, Andy. I'm not going to tell you they're not. Got a first-time coach, Jacoby Brissett, the quarterback. He wants to be paid more. He wasn't participating in the voluntary portion of training camp. Of course, it's voluntary, so whatever. That being said, you look at the Cardinals to go over 3.5 wins this season. All we're asking, guys, is for them to win one more game than they did all of last year. And so many of the things I look at to help me determine where I think a team is going to end up tell me this Cardinals team will, in fact, improve its record from last year. Let's start with the fact, Andy, that the 2025 Cardinals, last year's team, was very, very unlucky. If you watch this team, you know that. In games decided by 4 points or less, they were 0-7. That is pretty head-scratching. They actually lost 8 one-possession games a year ago, and that actually means good news for 2026. Why? Because since 1993, 41 of the 48 teams that lost 8 or more one-possession games the previous year saw their win total improve the following year. And the average improvement is actually 4 wins. Now, I don't think the Cardinals are going to win 4 more games than they did last year. I'm not going that crazy, okay? But all we need is 1. And the 2 teams that qualified for this trend last year, Andy, oh, by the way, Denver and Jacksonville. Again, not saying Arizona is going to be Denver or Jacksonville from last year, but I think, again, they can win 1 more game than they did last year. Arizona was also by far the most injured team in the NFL last year. Injuries fluctuate quite a bit year from year. We know that. I know the San Francisco 49 people are going to say, oh, the 49ers are always injured. Okay, but there are exceptions. Generally speaking, when we see a team really banged up one year, they do enjoy better health the following. As a matter of fact, in the DVOA database, Arizona was the number 2 all-time team in adjusted games lost for a single season. So they weren't just injured. They were all time injured there. And they were in the same division. They still are in the same division, obviously, as the Seahawks, the Rams, and 49ers. That's tough. It led to them playing the toughest schedule in the league last year. They were 0-6 in division games. But, Andy, if you go through history, teams don't lose every division game back-to-back years. It just does not happen. The Raiders finally won one last year. The division doesn't change, but I think Arizona can steal one here. For what it's worth, I know this is something else people probably won't agree with. I think the Rams, Seahawks, 49ers all win fewer games this year than they did last. The Cardinals' schedule is going to be a lot easier overall because they finished in last place last year. And I'll end it with this, guys. People are forgetting at this time last year, people are talking about Arizona as a dark horse playoff contender. They won 8 games the previous year in 2024. They had a positive point differential there. I know a lot of the names have changed. The coaching staff has changed. I'm not saying this is going to be close to a playoff contender or they're going to have a winning record. I think they win 4 games, and that's all I got to say about that.
I mean, you are correct. They were kind of a trendy, sneaky, like, I think the Cardinals, and that is an all-time
One good call. I kind of was making a case for it. I was drinking the Kool-Aid a little bit. And I mean, it was comical. The Cardinals were that team. I don't know about what your TV setup is. I got, multiple TVs going, the ones on the red zone, and the Cardinals were that team last year that whenever they would come on the red zone, it was just something incomprehensibly stupid they were doing in the fourth quarter down the stretch. And you're like, is this are they trying to lose this way? Obviously they weren't. Okay. But it was, it was pretty comical.
Well, I will tell you, Jacoby Brissett over passing numbers and Michael Wilson over receiving numbers were fantastic in the props market. Not because they were competitive, because they were down 30 in the second half. Mm-hmm. They're just garbage time galore. So I would also add to that, the Browns are 5.5 wins. Why would the Browns be 2 wins more than the Cardinals? And I love the Browns under. I broke that down. I think that's going to be a client play. That makes no sense. Why aren't these teams more equal? That's 2 big wins.
The Cleveland Browns quarterback room is Deshaun Watson, Shedeur Sanders, and Dylan Gabriel. That's the worst NFL quarterback room
Not
ever.
Great.
I don't know. I mean, it's like
Not great.
I know. No.
I mean, don't forget Will Levis started for the Titans for a bit. Yeah, so
that's true. That's true. But I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know if Deshaun Watson or Shedeur Sanders even should be in the NFL. So
yeah, they're going to make it. They got to do a doc on what happened to Deshaun Watson. Makes no sense whatsoever. How that guy was so good and then fell off a cliff. So, all right, Brian's got a 5% best bet that is up first money line of the MLB season. Good luck to you, Brian.
Thank you,
you joining us. Great breakdowns, and hope you cash that thing tonight. Bryan Power, everyone. Bryan Power, always a good time talking Brian. One last thing that about the LeBron thing, man, I'm going to be looking hard at over team totals on the other team to start the season against the 76ers. That's a team with not a lot of really good defenders, and other teams are going to want to play the 76ers hard, especially to start the year. Hopefully, I would like to get some opponents of the 76ers over team total. I think that could be that team's going to struggle to get chemistry down, and when you're not having chemistry, a lot of it's on the defensive end. So, okay, viewer submission for NFL Future, and then we're going to get out of here. Again, guys, we got a big weekend. 5% UFC best bet is up. We've got Brickyard 400 plays. We've got a 4% MLB prop that goes off tonight. You want to start taking advantage of those. Get that half price on 30 days special. That's over at my page, wt.buzz/AL. You want something shorter? We got buy 3 days, get 3 free. If you've never tried me out, good way to get 6 days. You get all of our full detailed analysis on all the plays so you can see how we operate, how we think, and what markets we're in. So that's on the specials page. But let's get to the Chargers here. The Chargers over under 9.5 wins. Again, every Friday we do take a viewer submission. So 9.5 wins, a little juice to the over here. They were 11-6 last year. One of those losses, though, was the last game of the season where they sat everybody. So easily could have been a 12-5 team. Biggest thing for them was they added Mike McDaniel as the offensive coordinator. So probably going to have a lot more excitement, a lot more I don't know, pizzazz, a lot more quality to the plays here by adding Mike McDaniel. We also have to remember how banged up their offensive line was. They spent most of the season without Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater, and their offensive line was absolutely awful. They allowed 60 sacks. It was terrible. Justin Herbert was getting hit early and often. They did draft a center, and they added more depth to the offensive line, so they know it was a big problem. I think there's a real chance they go from one of the worst offensive lines last year to one of the best. I think this offensive line could be a real plus for them this year, coming off of a season where it just killed them. Amarian Hampton was hurt last year, but Kamani Vidal stepped in and was pretty good. He's serviceable, and I love the wide receiving core. Ladd McConkey, Quentin Johnston to stretch the field, Trey Harris, and you got a good tight end, Rondé Gadsden, who was a breakout. Keenan Allen, as of now, is not with the team. Who knows if he comes back? But even if he doesn't, I think Justin Herbert has plenty of weapons to have a really good offense. Defense, they were great. Ninth in points per game allowed, fifth in yards per game allowed. The secondary was elite. They held quarterbacks to the worst QBR in the league, and they are returning most of that defense. They have depth. They have talent on that line of scrimmage. The defense is going to be fantastic. On paper, their schedule right now is the second hardest, but it's top heavy and it's easy at the bottom. So they get their first two games are Arizona and Las Vegas. Like, you got to start 2-0 there. They also get the Jets and Miami as well as Las Vegas later on in the season. Where it gets hard is some of these top heavy games. They are at Buffalo, at Seattle. They got the Chiefs. They got Denver twice. They're at the Rams. They're at Baltimore. They've got the Patriots. So they're going to play some good teams. I just love Harbaugh. Everywhere he goes, he wins. And it just seems like he continues to be undervalued. I absolutely love this over 9.5 wins. With that offensive line as bad and as banged up as it was last year, for them to get 11-6 was truly amazing. We can have all the questions in the world we want about Justin Herbert in the playoffs, but this is a regular season bet. This is one of my favorites. I know it's a little bit juicy. I wouldn't be surprised if this moves up to 10.5. I'm stunned it wasn't 10.5 for an 11-win team. So this is going to be an easy over for me on the Chargers, 9.5 wins. I believe in Harbaugh and Justin Herbert. I believe their offensive line is going to be healthy and much better. So don't be surprised if they win more games than they did last year. All right, that is going to do it for us. Great week of shows. Thanks to Chris for producing. Big dog on the sticks. Yes, sir. I don't know if Dan's going to be back next week. Probably not. He's in a bad Wi-Fi spot. But shout out to you guys in the chat. You guys crushed it. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop us a comment below. Give me a submission for a player prop or a season win total you want me to go over on Friday. So buckling up, man. Get ready. Preseason football's right around the corner, but more importantly, we've got a lot of plays for you over at WagerTalk.com. Thank you so much for joining us every day this week. Good luck on your bets. Have a great weekend. We'll see you on Monday. Take care.